it's this concept of when we have children, and especially when they're little and young, that I think there's something the Lord has that I think our society tells us the opposite. And it's this thing of that the Lord wants young children to stay dependent. And, you know, the world says really actually the opposite. But I think God's way is that He puts something in each and every one of our hearts, that we want to be a part of something bigger. We want our life to matter, and we want to look to someone who's got it, right? And I look to you, and I'm dependent on you. But a lot of times, as moms, we can just, we can end up having our home run in this way that everybody's just got their own thing going. You know, they got their thing, they got their thing, they got their thing. And instead of looking to that parent who's bigger and staying dependent on them and looking to life there. If we're just represent the Lord to our children, what is He for us? We can't go a day without Him. Well, how do we want to train our kids? Is that you're on my ride. If you came to my house, you would see my kids are on my ride. My little kids, I want to train them to, what do you have, Mama? When they finish that, what do you have next, Mama? Because it trains them one day to relate to the Lord. It really does. And if everybody's doing their own thing, you'll feel that chaos. You'll feel it, you know? But keeping them on my ride. And I know with little ones, it is hard. It is so much easier to let them pick whatever they want. You got that covered? Great. But instead, having this thing of, I want them to relate to their mom. You know, will you feel suffocated at times? Mm-hmm. But it's that I want them to relate to me and be dependent. Dependence on the Lord is a good thing. But I think a lot of times I meet so many adults who they're working and fighting and wrestling with God to be dependent on them because they're having to break something in there. They didn't necessarily yield as a child. You go back through and you ask them questions, they didn't want to yield. They didn't want to break and say, okay, I'll follow you. Work on with your children, them being dependent, and work on if you see independence in your kids. Meaning, and I'm going to pick on my sweet Lauren over here. She was one of those, she obeyed. You know, she was my little 2, 3, 4-year-old. You know, you tell her don't touch that, no problem. She will not touch it. But that little thing had her own ride, and I could see it. I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't with me. She had her own little thing going. Meaning, she had her own little world happening over here. It wasn't just that she was introverted. It wasn't just that she was shy. It was that she had her own little life going. And I saw it, and I was like, how is she going to learn to relate to the Lord one day? Because life's not about her. And I know so many adults who every day are crying out to God, Lord, I surrender my life. And they're trying to surrender their own agenda and their own thing. But they didn't get broken as a child to know that there's somebody bigger than me and I have to yield. Or my life's not about me. You know, that struggle, you know, as an adult, sometimes you're having a fight going, oh, this is what you have for me, God? Okay, and it's this fight. We have the opportunity. Doesn't mean they won't have to wrestle some, but we have the opportunity to grow some capacities in them for yielding. We can do that. We can teach them at a young age to start learning how to yield, start learning how to surrender, start learning how to let go of their agenda and say, what do you have, Mama? What do you have going? Like for us in our home, you know, it's a big deal that I'll direct and I'll say, okay, we're going to play with, let's say, Legos, okay? We'll watch and see. If they're the kid that always wants to go play with, you know, Playmobil, or they're going to go outside, you got you an independent one there. Their ideas are more important than your ideas. Is it they're this nasty, defiant little rebel? No. You just see they've got all, and I think for her, she's got all this creativity, and she knows who she is, and she's confident. But yet, if I never broke into that, she wouldn't be the woman I see here today. She is a yielded woman of God. I admire her so much. I learn from her. She is a follower of the Lord. Well, we have the opportunity with our children to help create capacities in them that they want to follow their master, that they hear his call, and they go, oh, okay, I follow you. But you're going to have to get in there and sometimes wrestle when you see that. So when I begin to pick on little Lauren over there, and I say, oh, I'm going to get in her space. I'm going to call her out. Mom, sweet girl, look at Mama. Or, I want you to do this instead. Why don't you lay that down? All of a sudden, here comes the little kid. It all comes out, and you see it. She wasn't as submitted as it looked. She had no problem. Don't touch. I won't touch. But she had her own thing going. And I had to work with that little heart, and work with that little heart, and work with that heart. Different stages in her growing up to where she didn't just go, okay, I'll do what you have, Mama, but she wanted what I had. That she wanted to follow me. Isn't that what we want our kids to get with the Lord? Is that they want to follow Him. Well, we have this opportunity, and it's very short, y'all, but we have this opportunity with our kids, that they learn to be dependent, they learn to listen for us, they learn to watch and take their cues from us, but also that life's not about just doing your own thing. And so you don't have to be hyper if you got a 1-year-old, but just be watching. You know, it's that watching. It's watching the attitudes. And the Lord will give you creativity. He'll give you wisdom if you know that He will, if you believe that He will. He knows your child. He knows you. And to say, Lord, I'm wondering if I have one of these little independent types. You know, a lot of times your firstborn, that's not necessarily, but that little second one, the perfect child who just goes along with whatever is told. You know, she deep down had her own agenda. Not a bad kid, but I want her heart. And I could find, I didn't have her heart. I was bumping up into, she's here and I'm here, and there's a distance. And I need to narrow this distance. Because I don't want her to make it to adulthood and out on her own. And she thinks life's just doing whatever she wants to do. And I don't have to relate to anybody bigger than me. You have to give them something something that transfers over with the Lord one day. That He's bigger than them. I mean, we all know that and agree with that. And it doesn't mean that they're not going to have to wrestle as an adult, but we can set them up well. That they know somebody's bigger, there's an authority in my life, and I will yield. You know, and watch your kids. Do they know how to yield? When we're saying, oh, we're done doing this, we're going to do this, do they yield? Now, if you've got little ones, it's going to take breaking, but that's what it's about. That's what we're there for. You know, so it doesn't mean that if your 2-year-old pitches a royal whopping fit because you took this away and we're going to go on to something else, it doesn't mean that he's some rebellious kid. It means we're in training. And work with their hearts, and you'll know what to do. You'll know what to do. But know what you're after. For me, if I know what I'm after in their heart, the Lord fills in the details. It gives me the creativity of how to deal with it. You know, you described the situation earlier about the bubbles, and He gave you the wisdom of what to do. And, you know, you can't package that method. You can't, you know, say, oh, guys, here's what you do in this situation. No, you were His mom. And you gave exactly what He needed. And you followed the Lord. You didn't follow what just came natural to you, right? So it's that dependence on Him, but it's knowing what am I after in that moment, the situation you described. You're after connecting with Him. You're after keeping some peace here. And that was the moment that we may have chaos and crazy and Mama's about to flip out. Nope, I'm going to bring peace right now because that was what the need was. So in this and finding, I want my kids to be on my ride. I mean, for me, that is my goal many times during the day is I want my kids with me. I want to stay heart connected. I want them on my ride.